Hello, everybody. This is rather smart, isn't it, Lubna?
Yeah, it is special, I have to say.
We were worried about hitting the chandeliers on the way through, but we've made it through. A very good late morning to you all. It's wonderful to be here. I've known Lubna for years, long enough to know that she won't thank me for describing her as a total trailblazer here across the region and beyond. But it is, Lubna, true. You are the chair of the Olayan Financing Company, which is a major investment firm with diverse interests across various sectors. You also sit on various boards as a member of those boards. You are a hugely influential voice and visionary leader when it comes to us talking about power, policy, and possibility, not least, Lubna, when it comes to the empowerment of women. There is a whole generation of women around this region who thank you for your steadfast support. It's good to have you here today. How are you?
Thank you very much. It's very good to be here.
Good.
Especially on the stage. And I'm really pleased to be moderated by a real person, especially you, Becky Anderson. So,
well, I hope I do as good a job as the AI did. Look, I want to take you back to a speech that you made in Jeddah in 2004 and an appeal that you made 21 years ago now for the government and the private sector to abandon what you then described as the kingdom's progress without change philosophy. Progress without change. Can you just reflect on that speech 21 years ago and the real change that we witness here today in 2025?
yes, I can vividly remember making that speech. I think many of the audience here are too young to remember it. But the idea was, and the theme of my preparing that speech, is a country cannot progress unless there is real change and holistic change. And being a female working in a company for 18 years alone, and as the only female, I couldn't see how the country could progress and could move forward with 50% of the population not being able to contribute. So that was one aspect of it. The other part of it was that change had to be all-encompassing change, not one area. And I'm so glad that Vision 2030 is really moving to a holistic change, social change, economical change, moving forward across everything. We had great things going for us then, but they were not publicly known. The West knew very little about what the good things we have. What we have now is transparency. Everything is available on the internet. We are quite a digital economy. Everything is available. So all that progress, all that change, and Vision 2030 was really able to take us to where we are now.
And a week or so ago, you talked about the transformative impact of Saudi Arabia's new investment law and the ongoing economic reforms that you see. And I think you described these as foundational to the kingdom's future prosperity, including the role of women, of course, in the evolving Saudi business landscape. I wonder if you can just expand on that and explain what you see as key for Saudi in building national resilience now in the face of what is very real global turbulence as this transformation continues here in the kingdom.
So let's talk first about the investment law. The investment law was introduced in 24 but was enacted in February of this year. Main thing about the law is to make sure that local investors and foreign investors are treated equally. And it did that. And that's very important because we really need to attract FDI to get the economy thriving and going. And we have to have complete transparency, equal battlefield, and equal playgrounds. So that is very important, and it is extremely transparent. Everyone can read it and learn about it. As to your other part of the question, which is resilience, we live, the Middle East, as you know, is in an area where we have more than our share of geopolitical instability and issues. We're also an economy that is across the GCC basically built on commodity, on oil. So we have to be, the country has to be resilient to the geopolitical aspect as well as the price of oil. And this is why on the second one, all the Gulf countries are trying to diversify their economies from being oil-based economies to moving to diversified. And as such, we have seen that our non-oil GDP has moved to above 50%. We are almost 73%. So that resilience allows us in case of economic shocks. At the same time, whether a country or a company, you have to have financial strength. You have to have the resilience to be able to beat the shocks. So oil prices are down, we have a budget deficit, we can. The country in this case, similar to this, we have the lowest actually debt to GDP among the G20 countries. We are at 30%. The average world debt is around 100. So we have enough headwind.
And we've heard this morning about how tourism is both an economic engine and part of the kind of growing transformed economy and economy that looks to be more resilient. Building resilience through culture, through education, through sport, through tourism, through infrastructure, it takes decades, not quarters. I just wonder, through your boardroom lens, how do you make the case for long-term investment when short-term pressures so often dominate, don't they? I mean, you must have been through this over the, 3 or 4 decades that you've been in business, and you see the same challenges here as this nation builds and diversifies into its new economic era.
Well, thank God I come from a privately owned company. So our horizon is long. We don't have short-term horizon. We are from the country, we believe in the country, and if we're talking about this, we are looking for long-term. We have, the family-owned businesses have patient capital, and they have long-term vision. So I think it's very important to know exactly where is your strength, where do you want to invest in, and believe in it, do your homework, and we just stick to the industries we understand, the business we understand, knowing all well that it's going to have its up and down, but we stay for the long term. We're known in our group that we are long-term investors because we have studied, where the industry that we are in.
And you see that investment strategy here on a nationwide basis.
And you see it here. I mean, tourism is our newest industry, as we have seen, and it's already contributing, because the vision was there, it's contributing almost 11% of the GDP. I was researching, when did we start giving tourist visa? It's only in 2019 we gave tourist visas, and it's done online. And we had, I heard earlier, 130 million visitors, tourist visitors. Take us back, when I gave the speech, it took forever to get a visa, and it was all sponsored visa. So
Yeah, things have changed. I mean, radically. And just since I've been coming in and out of the country since 2015, 2016, I mean, you have to pinch yourself sometimes to think back to where things were. Tourism is both an engine of growth, and it's a reflection to a degree of trust. In an era of social media and virality, when one headline can reshape perception overnight, how do nations and businesses earn and keep that trust? Lubna?
well, we're a country that used to many shocks, and we've been able to resist these shocks. But you are right. Tourism, I think one thing about it, which it is a large employer. So it is very important to keep that industry. And I think government, private sector, everyone, the Saudis, for the interest of the country, we have to have our best behavior. We have to be completely welcoming, and we are. As you've been living in the Arab world for 30, you know how the Arab world is so welcoming. And so we have all the fundamentals for us to have it. We just have to be who we are and be welcoming. And I think that's how you build trust. Of course, you're going to have an incident here and there. The key thing is to acknowledge, say this is a separate incident. The West have had so many, unfortunately, terror attacks of all of this, but you handle them correctly, you move on, you acknowledge, you don't hide. And that's how you build trust.
When you travel, and you've got a big family, what do you look for in a destination?
My family, when I go with my family and grandchildren, we love to go to the sea or the mountains because it's the most relaxing. And we also try to discover areas we haven't been to. So
I'm not going to ask you where because you don't want them overrun by other people, right? Given that every time I try and speak to you, you tend to be on a Zoom call or in a meeting of some sort. I know how important your time with the family away when you're traveling is. It's been an absolute pleasure. We've run out of time. Could go on forever.
thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Lubna Olayan for you
Becky
folks now.
Anderson.